What's up, Ann Brothers?
Many brothers, nothing is up. Probably good.
Do I look different?
Yeah, you look all wavy gravy.
Yes, because I am broadcasting live from the backcountry of northwestern Wisconsin. That's right. I'm in the boonies, and as a result of that, I have no idea how this show is going to go today. You might hear me, you might see me. I should probably just turn my camera off, and that way you can just hear me. But you get my wavy face instead. So yeah. Yes. That is. Yeah. What are you gonna do, right? So.
Yeah, I was gonna say they still have dial up there, so obviously.
Honestly, I had to dial up. I got the chung chung. But this is what you do. This is how much we love the show. It's so important to us that I am broadcasting from my vacation in beautiful scenic Dresser, Wisconsin, where very little has changed other than there's some road construction. So, and
Wow.
Dresser is one of those towns where things don't really come, but they do go. Does that make sense? So,
yes, it does. That makes perfect sense.
That's not entirely true because there is a brand new Quick Trip in St. Croix Falls. So, and I won't lie, I've been there like 4 times in the last 2 days.
In case most of our listeners or followers do not know, Quick Trip is the mecca of gas stations. It's like
it is.
I can't describe it other than everybody there that works there seems happy, which is weird.
It is. It's literally it's the finest gas station in America. And it's not, and I have been all over the lower 48 and Hawaii. And I got to tell you, there is not a superior gas distribution, food distribution place in the world. It's the greatest. Let's see, we got somebody with us. It is Tracy Larson. Tracy, literally, who I just saw minutes ago because we hung out together and ate cookies, and I'm so jazzed to have spent time with you. So Tracy Larson says we're supposed to get a Taco Bell. What? Wait, you had a Taco Bell and you got rid of it? What the hell?
That seems like a mistake of youth.
Yeah.
Once you get a Taco Bell, you hold on to it both hands.
You do. You grip it. You nurture it. You hold it like a tiny kitten, like I was holding this morning. So yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Wow. How do you let that go?
So,
damn.
Yeah. No, the second I saw a Quick Trip when I drove into Wisconsin, I got so happy. I just got I stopped because I'm like, there it is. It really is.
There it is.
Just a better place. They have. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
You can get fill your gas tank, go to a clean bathroom, and then buy a rotisserie chicken.
Yes. So that way you can eat your rotisserie chicken with your hands while you're driving because they're clean. So
they're clean.
Anyway,
exactly.
Exactly. Right. So okay, so it was supposed to be up by Walmart. It was a Plaza. Oh, it was a
Pizza Hut.
Okay, it was a Pizza Hut Taco Bell. All right.
It was a Taco Hut Bell.
They sold more drugs. Joe, what does he call that? Kentucky Fried Taco Hut.
Right, exactly. Well, now they're going to focus on tacos instead of drugs because we say no to drugs. No. And we say yes to tacos. Yes.
Yes. And the truth is, well, of course, they don't have a weed here yet in Wisconsin. You can't just go get your weed in any form in Wisconsin, neither medical or recreational. So,
well, that's also seems like a lost opportunity. Michigan has only improved with more pot shops. So,
have we improved with more weed shops?
Like I said, Jenny and I were talking before the show, and Duncan and I were in Ypsilanti today, where we used to live, and all these places are like, oh, it's a pot shop now. Oh, there's a pot shop. Oh, that used to be a house. Now it's a pot shop. So there are tons of pot shops now in Ypsilanti, but Ypsilanti is way cooler. Remember when we were there in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was a little sketch? Now it's cool.
Yes. It's great. Yeah. Ypsilanti, y'all. Tracy she said the Buc-ee's is fabulous. You see, I've never been to a Buc-ee's, so maybe I will feel differently if I go to a Buc-ee's and be like, Buc-ee's over Quick Trip, yo. But Yeah, considering all the shit show gas stations we have in the state of Michigan, I it was just it literally is a breath of fresh air to enjoy a delicious coffee beverage or a donut or a smoothie or a rotisserie chicken from Quick Trip.
Wow.
So there
Yeah,
you
I
go.
was gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah, most of the gas I don't there's no gas stations I relish here in Michigan, like, "I gotta go to this one because they have the best fill in the blank." They're all a little sad. Everybody that works there is trying really hard, and everything is stale. So, there you
Yeah. Yeah.
go.
And the bathrooms are all terrible. So there you go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're like,
Speedway, I'm talking to you. I'm looking at you,
yeah.
Speedway.
I was like, I realize this is my butt, but I don't want to put my butt on that. I mean, that's how bad it is. Like the worst part of me doesn't want to be on what you consider the best part of you, then it's a problem. Sorry, that was probably I was just like,
Well said.
dude, you're just making this like ugh. Anyway.
No,
Anyway.
you said it all. You
Mhm.
summed it up. Yeah, well
Yeah.
done. All
Thank you.
right, so should we get into it? Because it's
Yes.
we're wacky and wild and batty for wombats today. So let's get into this. Boom,
Yes.
there it is.
Wombats, please.
Uh,
Look at those
wombats.
guys.
I
Wild about
know, they're so
wombats.
adorable.
Um, yes. So, Jenny, do you want to take over this part on our welcome and we are who we are?
Yeah, because you're doing most of the talking today, so I'll do the
Mhm.
synopsis. I think that's
Okay.
fair.
I think so too.
Yes, welcome everybody. For those of you that don't know who we are, if this is your first or second or third time watching, you get to hear this again. We are the Brothers Sisters. I am Janice Brothers. This is Ann Brothers. Our last name is Brothers. That's a real thing. We didn't make it up just for television, or this isn't really television. This is for social media. No, this is a real
Mhm.
name. It's super easy. The Brothers Sisters. And then you can now make some comment about us being sisters and brothers because we've never heard that
Oh,
before.
exactly.
Yes, we are 50s. We are Gen X, which means that you can pick any 12 records or tapes, your choice, for only 1 penny. But wait, there's more. I don't really have more, but that's usually there would be some other thing you could get with it, like a free
Mhm.
T-shirt or something. So,
Something. When I
um,
did that, I was 12 when I joined my first record and tape club, and mom's like, I don't want you to do that. So I naturally did it anyway. And
yes,
I bought my first tape, and it was like, I don't know, 5.99. And I asked mom to write a check, and she's like, I'm going to write one check for you because I gave her the money. And she's like, I'll write this one check for you. The next time you have to go get a money order, I am not going to pay, keep writing checks for you. So she's like, you go to the bank because I had a little savings account at some bank. She's like, you tell them you want a money order for the amount. It will cost you another 25 cents, and you give them the money, and then you fill it out like a check. So I was like 12 getting money orders so I could, pay for my record and tape club. That's how I
that's
learned about
right.
money
So,
orders.
which is awesome. And then you taught
Mhm.
me about money orders because I didn't know what the fuck that was. So there you go.
Exactly. It's like I'm
Question.
using my babysitting money so I could buy my records and tapes.
What was the first tape you bought?
Oh gosh, the first tape I bought was Hall and no, what was it? You bought me a Hall and Oates tape. You bought me H2O Hall and Oates tape, and then I bought Styx. Mr. Roboto. What was it? Kilroy was here. That was it. That
Oh,
was the name of
Kilroy
the
was
album.
here. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes, that was my first. That was the first
St
tape I bought. So I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't
Yeah.
that wasn't like a record and tape club. Like I had gotten other like record and tape club, but actually going to a record store to buy a record, that was my first one. Styx, Mr. Roboto. Liz, thanks,
Liz
Liz.
Liz Williams. Yes, Liz Williams is with us. She has known Anne for many years, and anybody
Mhm,
that has known Anne for many years knows that Anne had more than just a mild obsession with sticks in
mhm,
the early 80s. So there you go.
exactly. They were my favorite. I loved them a million.
Yes.
So there you go. Yeah,
Yes.
they were my
Well,
most favorite. I had
honestly, how can you not? Sticks was banging. They were great.
it was.
Yeah.
No apologies. I love Styx. So that was my first one that I bought at a record at a music store. So there you go.
Nice. Nice.
Music
I
store,
don't think
boys
I
and
ever
girls, is where you got records and tapes because you couldn't download it on your phone because your phone was only used for phone calls.
correct. And it was only at home, attached to a wall.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm trying to think if there was a better reason to go to the mall when you were a kid. Was there ever a better
Um,
reason to go to the mall than the
I
record store?
record store, Claire's boutique because I could get cheap ass jewelry, and I still love
Oh.
me some cheap ass jewelry, and Olga's Kitchen.
Oh, that's right, Olga's
Mhm,
Kitchen. Yep.
mhm.
Yeah, but that was usually and I always, Foot Locker because that was my thing. It's still my
Right.
thing. I still love athletic shoes of all
Mhm.
types, and
Yeah.
I want to spend so much money on athletic shoes. I
Mhm.
do. Kicks. Yeah, let's go. Now you know
Let's
something about
go.
me. All
Yeah.
right. So anyway, as you can see, we talk about smart stuff, dumb stuff, fun stuff, or any combination of the three. We are not cool, hip, or sexy. We know this because we are one of the few podcasts that are not hosted by a millennial or a Gen Z or a pair of Gen Z or a pair of millennials. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, we are
Yeah.
Gen Xers who have learned the technology to make a podcast, and honestly, it's not that hard.
Exactly. Exactly. The funny thing is, like, all
Like,
the
wow, this is what
podcasts
people
I
do.
listen to, they're all Gen Z or millennials, and they all talk about, like, if they're in their almost 40, they talk about how old they are and how, even the millennials, the older millennials, are starting to talk about how weird those Gen Zers are.
Oh, wait till they. I don't know what the name of the next group is, but it's not going to be good. Whatever
Mm-mm.
the feedback for that, and but that's the
Who
group
knows?
I'm
God help
teaching
them.
right now. Oof. Yeah.
Oof.
God help us all. All right, good.
Mhm.
All right, so we are not a celebrity or influencer podcast, or a crime podcast because we have nothing new to say. So that's all been done. So we're just doing our thing because there you go. We are not great to listen. We are great to listen to when you want to learn things about stuff and you're waiting for the fireworks or the 4th of July parade to start. That's true.
Yeah.
Because if you want to get good seats, you got to get there early, which means you're
Mhm.
going to do some waiting around, which means you might as well plug in and listen slash watch this podcast because,
Exactly.
and I'm just going to say this one more time. I fucking hate fireworks. Okay, I'm done. All right. Please, I know. Please join us at our website. Oh, by the way, as you can see, as I just said how much I hate fucking fireworks, we are not a PG or G or PG-13 podcast. We will drop an F-bomb, but we will try not to get gross, like super gross,
Right.
marginally gross. Okay.
Mhm.
Join us on our website, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Like us, follow us, hit the bell, leave a review, give us 5 stars. You can give us feedback. We have usually a poll question we dump on Spotify. If you're not on Spotify, it's okay. You can still listen to us on any of these others. You can ask Alexa to play us. It's so weird because I don't have Alexa in my life right now. And I'm so trained by Alexa. I always ask her for things and reminders, and so, like, the other day, I was like, "Alexa, set a reminder," and then there was no Alexa. I'm like, "Well, I'm an asshole." So,
Empty apartment. Remind me to do this.
I'm like, "Fuck me, that means I have to remember something on my own, by
Mhm.
myself, with my own
Oh,
brain."
do I
Yeah,
have a
it's
timer on
not
my
good.
phone?
I was like, "I could just count," so
That sounds crazy. I could look
yeah.
at a clock.
So,
Oh, ugh, duh.
yeah. So, the AI has me trained up and ready to be a slave,
Yeah.
so for
Mhm,
AI, because that's already happening. So,
mhm.
yay, that's fun, huh?
That's fun. That
All
is
right.
super.
So, so one of the things we do each week is to remind you to follow us, like us, share us, tell people that we're amazing, that you should follow or like us, because that's how we're going to get big, people. Just so you
Mhm,
know, we're going
mhm,
to be big, and you're going to
mhm,
be able to say, "I remember when," et cetera,
mhm.
et cetera. Fill in the
Exactly.
blank.
Fill in the
I
blank.
remember
Mhm,
when.
mhm.
Fill in the blank. So there you go.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
Jinx bitch.
Uh, let's talk about yes, Jinx bitch. Let's talk about smart, dumb, fun stuff that we did this week, and we are starting with you.
All right, so Duncan and I went to the State Theater in Ann Arbor, which is the theater for grown-ups, and we watched the Quiet Place Day One. So it's the third movie in the Quiet Place trilogy, and the first two movies take place in rural Pennsylvania, about 400 plus days into this invasion. And this movie takes place on day one of the invasion in New York City. And if you've ever watched any of the Quiet Places, you know it's important to be quiet, and New York City is the opposite of quiet. So mayhem ensues. Now, one thing I really liked about this movie is that we've seen lots of end of the world movies where somebody is trying to escape from New York. This is a twist on that theme, on the escape from New York theme, which I thought was very interesting. There is a pet in this movie, a cat named Frodo. And usually, when you're watching a horror movie and there's a pet in it, the pet is going to bite it. But spoiler alert, because this was important to me, the cat survives. So if you're one of those people that doesn't like to watch a movie where the animal gets hurt or killed, even if you don't see it, just the whole idea of it. Spoiler alert: in this movie, Frodo the cat survives. So there you go.
That's good because that would have stressed me out so much, it would have affected me watching the rest of the movie, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because you're really worried about this cat. So the cat survives, so one for the cat. But it's just really, it was like I said, it was a interesting twist on already on the trilogy. So it was very different from the first two movies. I liked the New York, the escape from New York twist. Some of the scenes in this, just the little bits of scene were so beautifully filmed. The acting is excellent. It's not getting the best reviews, which I think is too bad because I don't know why. It's very different from the first movie, but it's a very very good movie. So I really enjoyed this. I thought it was smart. It stayed with me. That's how I know it's a good movie, that I don't forget it while I'm watching it. It stayed with me. I keep going back to it several days later, and I have a feeling I can't wait to see it again. It was one of those movies where I walked out and I wanted to turn right back around and sit down and watch it all over again. So I thought this was a smart movie.
Cool.
I do like me an End of the World movie. I can't. I've seen a lot of good ones and I've seen a lot of bad ones, and this one was a really good one. I enjoyed it, and yay, Frodo the cat, he lives.
Nice.
So there you go.
Yeah, I also really love the concept of that movie. The Quiet
Mhm.
Place movies are the first movies ever where you like, I can remember being in the theater, and I don't like to go into the theaters to see a movie, but I went and saw the original Quiet Place in a theater, and the stress that you feel when you yourself make any noise in the theater. I'm like,
Mhm.
cramming popcorn in my mouth, and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta be quiet because, I gotta be quiet."
Well, Duncan and I got popcorn. I was like, I got to finish this before the movie starts because I can't make any noise during the movie. And I'm sitting like just the whole time with my hands on my mouth, trying, like this, trying not to make any noise. And that's, I think, and everybody else in the theater is the same way. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't make any noise. And Duncan would like squeak in his chair. I'm like, dude, he just got killed.
And that's one of the
So,
things I love about this series of movies is that it's this movie that literally reaches through the screen and has this
mhm,
effect on you like no other movie ever has. I think that's just
mhm,
so innovative. And it's so
yeah.
weird to say that in this day and age where there's so many things that are not innovative when it comes to movies. For instance, my dumb this week, which was The Beekeeper, so Joe and I were like driving somewhere. So normally what happens is one of us drives and the other one entertains. So I was driving the other day and Joe was entertaining me, and it was like, "Hey, these are the best 5 movies on Prime right now." So the number 1 best of 5, which makes me think that there's nothing worth a shit on Prime right now, was The Beekeeper. So we're like, "Oh, Statham, yeah," because I love Jason Statham movies because all he does is usually take his shirt off and beat people up, and I'm like, "Let's go." So, here we are watching The Beekeeper. This movie sucked from literally the first 5 minutes. It was so fucking bad immediately. Joe's like, "We can stop watching it. We can stop watching it." So we haven't had internet up here in a while, so we were using the hotspots on our phone, and we both ran out of hotspot data with, like, 20 minutes to go, and I was like, "Oh, thank God," because then I couldn't finish it. Because
Oh,
every second I watched that movie, I just got dumber, and the cast the funny thing is you had this killer cast. You had, like, Statham, you had the kid that played PETA, you had Jeremy Irons was in this movie,
mhm,
Minnie Driver was in this movie, and you could just see them all kind of like, "Yes, I'm in this movie," like, hiding their faces, like, "Yes, it's me, it's Minnie Driver. I literally have come out of hiding to do this movie," and you're like, "Oh," and she's only in it for, like, 5 minutes.
mhm,
Felicia Rashad is in this movie, and she dies, like,
mhm.
5 minutes in. I'm like, "Oh my god, she got off so easy in this movie."
Exactly. I am here to get my check. Please give me my check. Now I'm leaving. Yeah, it is. I saw it a
Yeah.
couple of months ago and I was like, wow. So somebody Googled top 10 facts about bees, and then they wrapped some sort of cheesy ass script around these 10 facts that they managed to usually get wrong anyway. And then Jason Statham doesn't take his shirt off enough. So that's the movie.
He didn't take his shirt off at all, Ann Brothers,
Okay.
not
You're
one
right.
time.
Not one time, because what were
Yeah.
we watching? Oh, we were watching The Boys, and it was like one episode, and I was like, this young man is like, they started the rolling the cameras just as soon as he like pulls up his pants. I'm like, oh wait, that scene needs to be longer. because he was fine. He was so fine. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
let's do that again. Let's do
yeah,
25 takes on that. But
totally.
yeah,
Yeah, it was yeah, you had said something that the Bees should have written this movie. I'm like, I would have watched it if the Bees would have written this movie because it would have been so much better. So,
and so I was like,
yeah, that was my dumb
everybody,
thing.
yeah, it was dumb.
And, I'm like, I can't believe I used all my data on this movie. I'm still bitter. Anyway, the good news, it was the end of the billing cycle, so I had more data the next day. But still, come on, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
damn, that's so
So yeah, that
hilarious.
was yeah. Beekeeper, don't please save yourself the time. Randy, if you're listening
Mhm,
to this, don't. Just find some
mhm,
other 4% rotten, because maybe Statham will take his shirt off in one of those. I don't know. All
maybe I
right.
don't know. Anyway, Quiet Place, day one. That's totally worth it.
So yes, good, good. I'm glad there's a good movie out there somewhere. All
There is.
right, Anne, we are turning this over to you because you are the wombat. You're wacky for wombats, Anne. There you
I am
go.
wacky for wombats. It started with the Oatmeal, who's a graphic artist comedian, and he did this whole thing on wombats. And after I read that thing, and this was probably during COVID, so it's been a couple of years, I was like totally hooked on wombats. And people like, aren't I thought bats were your favorite animal? I'm like, bats are my favorite mammal. Wombats are my favorite marsupials. So after that, I was hooked on. Then I started watching wombat videos on my Facebook page, and now all my Facebook page is pretty much cat and wombat videos because when wombats get the zoomies, they're the cutest thing you've ever seen. So that's why I love wombats. And as you can see these pictures, look how freaking cute they are. They're
They
hilarious. So
are
thank you, Oatmeal and
effing
Facebook
cute.
for and then of
Well
course I
done.
had to learn all about wombats because my sister-in-law Liz, who commented earlier, she sent me a job post in Australia. One of the rehab centers is looking for a wombat walker, and I was like, wow, I could live in Australia. A little harness on him, take him for a walk.
Fun fact, be careful though, because like skin cancer is the highest in all in the world in like Australia. So, you know, make sure you wear your sunscreen. So
I was
there
gonna
you
say
go.
I will take a
Okay,
hat,
while you're
not a
there.
problem. Mhm. So yeah,
Okay, Liz Williams says now I have to YouTube wombat zoomies. Yeah, you do, Liz.
yeah,
You do.
you do. You do. It's gonna make you feel a lot better about humanity. I gotta tell you. I was like, because watching those little fat fuckers run around. Oh man, it is just so freaking cute. Sorry, I didn't mean to fucking swear.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay. In this day and age where everything's super fucked up,
Mhm.
you have to do things like that. You're like, take 10 minutes out of your time and watch true facts about whatever. Those videos, watch wombat videos and watch videos that are done by Please Don't Destroy, the three nerdy guys from Saturday Night Live who make
Oh
the
yeah.
funniest shit ever. So yeah, that's your homework. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Uh all right, let's go. Wombats 101.
Wombats 101. All right. So these are wombats. These are this is like two species of wombats. So up at the top you have the bare-nosed wombat, and then below I think it's a southern hairy-nosed wombat. So wombats 101, they are marsupials, as I said, and that means that they're a mammal, but they deliver their young prematurely, and the young then continue their development outside of the womb, but in a pouch that has little nipples in it. So that's where they attach on a nipple, and they hang out in the. It's kind of usually in the lower belly. That's where the pouch is. Um, Australia has tons of. Most of their mammals are marsupials there. We only have one type of marsupio in North America, and that is actually, I might be misquoted. They might have a different type in South and Central America, but in North America, the only wombat we have is the possum or opossum. Both ways of saying it are correct. So Australia, New Zealand, they have lots of wombats, or not wombats, but marsupials species, but koalas, um, kangaroos, lots of
Platypus.
different ones. Platypus, yeah, those are
No,
all
I guess no, I guess I take it back. Platypus are mammals. They're not
platypus are
marsupials.
mammals, but
My
there's
bad.
Tasmanian devils. Those are all marsupials. So it's a common thing there. Here we only have one. But here's another interesting fact about marsupials. Even though they're mammals, they do not get rabies. So they can't catch rabies and they can't give rabies. So people are like, oh, possums are so gross. I'm like, yeah, but you can't get rabies from them. You can get rabies from your dog. So
I
yeah,
love possums. Man, possums are like they're the freaking garbage men of the natural world. We love them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and they're great tick eaters. So in this day and age where
Yeah.
we have ticks everywhere, they're very good tick eaters. So there are three
Yes.
subspecies of wombats, and I am not going to pronounce their genus species names because who wants to hear me do that? So we do have the bare-nosed
Nobody.
wombat. And then we have the southern hairy-nosed wombat, and we have the northern hairy-nosed wombat, which is critically endangered. There's about 400 hairy-nosed wombats left in Australia. So that's yeah. So that one's
Wow.
critically endangered. They dig long burrow systems. So you kind of think like hedgehogs. Like hedgehogs will have these deep, long burrow systems. Wombats do the same thing. So they have this. They have these big, long claws, and they'll dig with their front feet, and then they'll kick the dirt. They'll dig the dirt underneath them, and then they'll kick that dirt out with their back feet. So they're like using all four of their limbs to move the dirt as they build these long burrow systems. And a lot of organisms then use the burrows for housing and to protect themselves from fire danger. So they're actually, you can think of wombats as a keystone species. They provide habitat for other organisms in their ecosystem. They're nocturnal, so
That's
they are
cool.
out during the night. They're not really big daytime organisms, which is one of the reasons why all of them why they're suffering. Their population is being lowered is because they're out at night and they get hit by cars. They're herbivores, so they only eat plants, and they're native to Australia and Tasmania. And I do have a map on the next slide. It shows you the big island of Australia, and then in the southeast corner, there's the smaller island that's Tasmania. So that's where you find them. So here's that map. So Australia, and then right below is Tasmania. And then I also have a map where you can see the range of where these animals are. And I thought this was a great map because it shows you what their range used to be and what it is now. And you can see that the wombats were never they've never been all over. They don't like the desert parts of Australia. They like the more rainforesty areas of Australia where you get more rain. You don't see them a lot in the desert. So you can see where the like the bare-nosed wombat is. You find them in Tasmania. That's the only one you find in Tasmania, and then along that coast. And you can see in yellow where their range used to be and how it shrunk with the green. That's where their range is now. With the southern hairy-nosed, you can see in light blue what their range used to be and how small it is now in the dark blue. And then with the northern hairy-nosed wombat that's critically endangered, they had a pretty good swath of habitat, but now that you can only find them in two small places. So even though the northern hairy-nosed wombat is considered critically endangered, all of them are losing habitat. And that's another reason why their numbers are so low, is that they get hit by cars and their habitat is shrinking. So they weren't a
Well, and
big,
that's
they
with
did.
that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's amazing how much their habitat has shrunk. That's
Mhm.
incredible, especially with that northern hairy nose, man. There's barely any habitat left. Wow.
Yeah, and of course, this is what habitat we're showing you is also where people live in Australia. This is like where big concentrations of people live because it's easier to live in these places. And a lot of Australia is desert and it's a hard place to live. So most of the concentration of people is exactly where the wombats live as well. So that's another reason why they're losing habitat is because we're taking it away from them. So there we go. So three subspecies, all nocturnal, all herbivores, all marsupials. Ta-da! And look how darn cute they are. And they're the second largest marsupial. Kangaroos are the first
That's
largest,
awesome.
and wombats are the second. They can get up to about 80 pounds. So an adult male can weigh about 80 pounds. So that's a big guy. So let's
It's
talk
a
a little
big
bit about
baby. That is a big
it
baby.
is
Yep.
big baby. Let's talk a little bit about wombat butts and wombat poop because both of them are special. All right, so wombat, as you can see, these aren't hunters. These aren't like apex predators or anything. They're basically going about their lives, digging big long tunnels, and eating vegetation. So how do they protect themselves? Well, they have their claws and they're fast. Wombats can run up to 25 miles an hour. So it doesn't look like it, like one of those little, short legs, wide body. It does not look like these guys got some speed on them, but they can run short bursts up to 25 miles an hour. That's why watching them have the zoomies is so much fun. Anyway, but their butt is a major defense. You notice, like in the last picture with the maps, how big their butts are. Most of their butt is made of cartilage. So the same stuff that makes up your ears and your nose. So if they're running at top speed and they're trying to get to their burrow and something grabs onto them, it's going to grab onto their butt. There's no like major organs there, there's no major arteries there, it's not even a ton of muscle. That first part is all cartilage. So if they do get bit there, it's not likely to cause permanent damage. They can still continue to survive. So that's one of their big defenses as they lead with their butt, which, as we know, if you've ever watched Demolition Derby, lead with the trunk of the car, lead with your ass. There's less, your
Totally.
heart, your lungs, liver, kidneys, nothing's there. And if it's made of cartilage, it can sustain quite a bit of damage and still not affect how you move. I'm like, if that was all muscle back there, there's a lot of muscle, but the cartilage is on top protecting all that muscle. If that's all muscle first, like in our butts, and you get damage back there, it's going to affect how you move. It's not going to affect them how they move as much because the cartilage got damaged first. So there you go. Lead with your butt. There's a kind of an urban legend where but there's no proof that this is a thing. But it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But there's this urban legend where like an organism, a hunter or a predator is going after a wombat. He or she gets into her burrow, and then the predator goes in and he or she smashes him with her butt. They smash their head against the top of the burrow with their butt and squish their head. There's no evidence of this, but it's a great story. So that is kind of an urban legend that they can kill with their ass. No proof so far, but we're still looking for it. Another thing that's interesting about
Hey, you
wombats,
never know.
this tells you a lot about their digestive tract, is that they make square-shaped poop. And I have a picture of it here. It looks like little cubes of poop. That's how it comes out. And they stack it around their territory or in front of their burrow holes. And they use it to dissuade males because they're a solitary animal. So they're not big on the company of other wombats. So they stack it around. And then they also use it to attract mates. So it's like, hey, warning, hey, sexy. I don't know. Maybe it smells like Teen Spirit. But anyway, that's it doesn't roll away.
I have a
Yes, Jenny
question.
Brothers? Yes.
Well, how do they know? Do they build it in a certain way that says stay away, or do they build it in a certain way that says, "Hey, girl, come on over," or "Hey, buddy, come on over"? I mean,
I'm not
because
sure if
now I want to know.
I think it's just the smell. Like the smell says, hey, I'm available. Or the smell says, hey, that's, if it's a boy one, building one's like, oh, somebody's territory. I don't want to get beat up. Or, oh, this is somebody's territory. And he looks like he could have a lot of great territory. I want to get to know him. The nice thing is it doesn't roll away. So you can, stack it and keep it all stacked. And you're like, hey, it's not roll. Because, if you have a burrow, it's kind of going downhill. You don't want to put it in front of your burrow and then all it rolls down into your house. You don't want that.
It rolls away.
Exactly. So they can stack it. So they have stackable poop. It's like, Jenny, it's Legos for wombats. Yeah.
So it's
Exactly.
shit Legos, shit goes.
Shikos, exactly. Poopkos. I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Pizza cubes, whatever it is. For cubes.
That's
Ooh, for cubes.
comfortable coming out your butt though. I mean,
Well, if you
pooping
have, and they
square.
think
It's got to be
that's the thing is that they think the whole digestive tract is more square. It's more so that, it's not like coming out of your, like you have a round hole and a square peg. I think the whole thing is square.
sphincter.
So
So
sphincter, yeah. So it's kind
square
of like a
peg out of a
more
square hole. Okay.
exactly.
That's
So it doesn't.
cool.
I'm sure the wombat's like, what? Your poop is round? How inconvenient. Mine is square for stacking. So, and if
How
we've
do you
learned
stack your
anything from
poop? I'm like,
IKEA, stacking is important in small places. So
stacking matters. Yep. There you
mhm,
go.
there you go. So yes, so butts and poop. Yes, and that's a little teeny. Isn't he
Yes.
cute, the little teeny wombat? All right. So some interesting facts about wombats. A group of wombats is called a wisdom. There you go. Now,
Wisdom
wombats
of
don't
wombats.
necessarily they don't really like to hang out in groups because they're solitary. So it's hard. You don't find wisdom very often, which we know is true in many things. There. So it's yes, a wisdom. Mhm. Like a rodent, their teeth never stop growing, but they're not considered a rodent. Actually, their closest relative is a koala, which is also a marsupial. They can run up to 25 miles an hour, as I said, and they can jump up to a meter high. So, like they get a lot of air for something with tiny little legs, 80 pounds, tiny legs. They're fast and they can jump. It's not like they're running for 2 or 3 miles. It's just more like a burst of speed to get themselves to their burrow where they're safe. But yeah, so if you have like vegetation that you're growing in your garden and you put it, you have like a fence or something, a little fence around it, they'll jump over that because they're
You
motivated,
need
or
to
they'll
make
just
that a high fence.
push right through it because they're also like little tanks. They have a backwards facing pouch. So their pouch doesn't, like if you've seen a kangaroo pouch, the pouch faces up towards the mother. This one is actually backwards because as they're digging, they don't want to fill their pouch with dirt. So the pouch faces the other direction. So if they have a baby in there, they don't fill their pouch with dirt. So they have a backwards facing pouch and they're on all fours. Most marsupials that you see are sitting upright, but they spend their time on all fours. They give birth to one
Fascinating.
joey. I know they give birth to one joey at a time. So a baby wombat is called a joey, and it's usually a 20 to 30 day gestation period in utero, and then it crawls. It is born into the pouch, and then it spends 6 to 7 months in the pouch. So it's almost as long as a human gestation. Just the first part is in utero and the second part is in a pouch. So about 8 months long for gestation, and a human is 9 months. So, there you
Okay.
go. Mhm. All species of wombats are protected in Australia. So even though one is considered critically endangered right now, all of them are considered protected. So you can't hunt them. As I said, their closest relative is the koala bear. So I have a little picture of them there with oh, Jenny, that's another thing. Liz or anybody else, if you want to watch some other cute videos, YouTube, baby koala bear, baby wombat together. The cuteness, you almost suffocate from
Oh.
the cuteness. Yeah,
Wow.
so adorbs. So, as I said, their closest relative is the koala. They are a solitary animal. They do not make good pets, and there's a number of reasons why they don't make good pets. One, they're solitary. They really don't want to hang out with you or anybody else. They want to hang out with themselves, and they'll have a baby and then they'll push it out and then that'll be that. They are solitary. They don't need you to be their best friend. Two, they're nocturnal. If you've ever had your cat or dog get the zoomies in the middle of the night or something, you're like, you do not appreciate it.
Hmm.
You want an animal that's going to sleep when you sleep. And if they're awake when you want to sleep, it is not fun. They like to dig, and you won't have enough room for them to dig all the digging that they want to do. And once they dig, they don't want to come out for you. They're sleeping during the day. At night, that's when they dig and do all their stuff. So another reason why they don't make good pets. And also it's a wild animal. It's like they're so freaking cute. When they're adults, they're cute. And they're so freaking cute when they're little. And you're like, oh, this will make a great pet. No, they are not. They do like their butt scratch. There's videos where people scratching their butt, and you'll see them in the wild, like scratching their big butts. Also makes them adorable looking, but they do not make good pets in any way, shape, or form. Being adorable does not make you a good pet.
Yes.
So,
I want that. I want
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Oh man, if I could have a pet wombat, I would in a second. So here we go, Jenny Brothers. We're going to be celebrating this year. October 22nd is World Wombat Day. So as I said,
Awesome.
there's 3 different types of wombats, 3 subspecies. There's the bare-nosed wombat. Oh, you know what? I meant to wear my wombat shirt today, and I forgot. So I have a wombat shirt. And it has a bare-nosed wombat on it. So that's what the adult looks like. There you see one with a baby. And then there's the northern hairy-nosed wombat. And you can see they kind of look like little pigs. I mean, they're just so darn cute. And the southern
They
hairy-nosed
do.
wombat, I have to admit that if I saw one of the hairy-nosed wombats, so if I saw one in real life, and you're like, northern or southern, I would not have any idea. I think they look very similar, maybe the coloration, but just because the coloration in this picture doesn't mean that all the colorations are the same. I think the ones that are bare-nosed
Right.
are a little bit, you can tell the difference between a bare-nosed and a hairy-nosed wombat, but seeing the 2 different ones, I couldn't tell. I'm not Australian, so I don't know, but you see why I like them, Jenny? I mean, they look like fuzzy little pigs. It's hard to believe that these little stocky, wide animals could jump or run. They can do both. They got those big wide set eyes. I'm like, damn, they're just begging for you to scratch their little butts, all full of cartilage,
I'm
making
still
square.
totally floored by the fact that they can jump a meter high. That's not a little bit. That's a lot. Those little
I
squatty
can't
things
jump a
can jump a
meter.
meter.
Jenny, can you jump a
I
meter?
can't either. I've never. I'm like,
I
no,
I
and
can't jump a
nor
meter,
have
and my
I
legs.
ever.
Yeah, I'm like, and my legs are way longer than that, and I couldn't jump a meter if somebody had a blowtorch on my butt. So
No, no,
yeah,
no.
exactly.
Could
So
not.
it's like,
Oh,
how does this little fat squat thing? That's why So
do
they're
that.
amaze balls, eating grass, eating
Agreed.
vegetation with a little backwards pouch, making the world a better place.
Amazing.
October 22nd.
Agreed.
Actually, I put it in my calendar in my phone. October 22nd, Wombat Day. So here's a couple of Wombat organizations in case you are interested in some Wombat awareness organizations. So the first one is Wombat Awareness Organization, and they focus on rescuing and rehabilitation. And I follow them on Facebook because every day they're posting stuff about wombats that they rescue and are rehabilitating. Oh, Jenny Brothers. I got to tell you, it entertains me. Wombat rescue, and they find and help injured wombats. So they'll go out, like, if you find a wild animal that's been hurt, you've called somebody. These are the people, and they have like a whole network of rescue people or rehabilitators. So it's kind of that program. I also follow them on my Facebook page, and then they have Wombat Protection Society of Australia, which is WPSA, and they do more raising awareness and funds to protect wombats and their habitat and provide sanctuaries. So, they usually don't go out and rescue the wombats. What they're trying to do is bigger picture stuff where they're actually trying to maintain their habitat. And then the Wombat Foundation actually specifically is for saving northern hairy-nosed wombats. So these are all I've donated to. I've donated to all of these. And I got to tell you, if you're going to donate money to Australia, you got to be patient because it doesn't come out of your checkbook right then and there or your bank account. And also the exchange rate is very different. So when I was doing that, I was like, I'm going to donate $50. And then $22.77 later, I was like, oh, is that all they took? Because that was like the exchange rate on that day. But you can donate. You can also, sometimes you can buy, their little tchotchkes and stuff. But yeah, so I've donated because I just thought they were so funny. I'm just like, I just love them so much. I can't imagine, though I've never seen one in person. I don't want to imagine a world where there aren't wombats running around being adorable.
Doing the zoomy thing.
Doing the whole Zoomy thing.
So,
Yeah, it is so darn
yes.
cute. So yeah, so there's some great
Liz wants to
organizations.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Liz wants to know, will
They
take
take a money order on my mom's check.
My
Does anybody
mom's
take checks
check.
anymore?
Yes, Liz, they will take your mom's check.
They will take it. They will take my mom's check anytime. You just got to send it there and, send it airmail, I think.
Oh.
Oh, man. So that's hilarious.
Good one, Liz. Good one.
Good one, Liz.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So
Nicely
yeah,
done.
so these are some great organizations. Also, you can follow them. You can just check out. They have lots of good information on their web pages. Yeah, there you go. And then
Nice.
of course, the place where I learned about first. I mean, I knew about wombats, but when I really learned about wombats was the oatmeal, and I have his webpage up here. So the oatmeal comics, the oatmeal.com, and you can find him at Comics and Wombats. He has this whole series on wombats, and his drawings are hilarious. He does a lot of great stuff. His comedy is very, very funny, very irreverent. But he can tell you he loves wombats, and then he was like, "How can I help wombats?" So he did this whole thing, and I learned a lot about wombats from the oatmeal, and then because of his comic and his art, I went out and learned even more and learned to love them. So sometimes the comics, the comedians, the entertainers, Jenny, are the ones that make it real for us, so we can go out in the world and learn more about important things like wombats. Yeah.
Well, and the oatmeal is a genius. He's a genius. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He totally is. He totally is. He has this whole thing on cats. Oh man.
My favorite one of his is Cats versus Kids. So
that's my favorite one too. I always go back to that whenever I think when people ask me, like, why don't you have kids? I was like, I need you to read this oatmeal thing about cats versus kids, and then you tell me why you don't have cats. Oh.
Exactly. So, yes,
So
it
yes.
is.
So then butts. And look at
Uh,
that. Look at that is a meaty butt.
that is a meaty butt. Well done, Ann
Mhm.
Brothers. This is good
Hey,
stuff. I learned a lot today.
mhm. Well,
I
I
did
get to
not
talk
realize
about
there
what I
were
get.
3 subspecies.
Yeah, yeah, there are three subspecies. And the small, it's like they're not like some, animals in, you see them in desert areas, but wombats are like they don't want to be in the desert. They want to be someplace where the ground is soft and they can dig. And yeah,
Exactly.
that's another reason why they make
Exactly.
terrible pets. Their claws. Their claws. They need to keep
Ooh.
them short. That's how they keep them in check is by digging. So if they can't dig in your yard. They're going to dig someplace, and you will be sad. So they do not make good pets.
'Cause no.
Yeah,
So
exactly. You think your cat has a
so,
problem
yeah,
with your couch? Wait till you get your wombat. He's going to have a real problem with your couch.
totally. Ooh, he
Hmm.
gonna mess up that couch. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
yikes. Alright.
All right. So
Well, I think that's it. Is that it? Is that all?
I think that's it. I
That's
think that's all
good.
about wombats today. Unless anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, confessions about wombats.
Confessions. That's right. About wombats. You've done it, you guys. You've spent another hour or so, more like
Mhm,
45 minutes today, learning things about stuff. In this case, the things that you learned and the stuff that you learned was about wombats. I learned a lot, some really great information on what they are, where they hang out, the fact that they are in danger, and the fact that you can support them in many different ways. We learned that they have cartilage butts that produce square poop, which is amazing. And then they use that poop to stack and attract or keep people away. All I know is this, that if I didn't want people around me, I would totally stack my poop around me. That's going to
well,
keep people away. So,
you know what I thought, Jenny? I was like, when I was reading about this, and I was like, okay, so it's both for attracting and warning. I was like, it's like Axe body spray. It's repellent to anybody, but middle school girls. I mean, when you smell Axe body spray, you're like, oh my god, that's so gross. But yet, for some reason, middle school boys put it all over them, and middle school girls can't seem to resist it. So there you go. So I
yes,
assume that
yes.
wombat poop smells like Axe body spray, which kind of smells like
Okay.
what is it, a Transformer movie feels like. One, yeah,
Yes.
loud and confusing. So
Oh, yeah. That is
that's what I imagine that wombat poop smells like. It smells like Axe body spray. Hmm.
Axe body spray. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. You heard it here first, you guys. Now you know. If you didn't
Now you
know,
know.
now you know.
Hmm.
So with that in mind, you can remember to support the Brothers Sisters for free. That's right. You learned all this Wombat stuff, and all you got to do is like, subscribe, leave a review, answer our polls, interact with us on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Music. Put the word out. Tell people that might have been wondering about wombats but didn't know what they should be
Hmm.
learning about. Now you will know. Now you too can support and keep the wombats alive. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's just pretty much tight. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So do all those things. And then you should also join us next week, you guys, when we are
Hmm.
joined by Gen experts, Jim and Tammy Peters. That's right, our generation experts. We're going to talk about, we got count them, two different Mount Rushmores to cover next week. Mount Rushmore number one is the Mount Rushmore of 1970s sitcoms, and Mount Rushmore number two is 1980s sitcoms. Start cranking your brains right now, you
Hmm.
guys. You know you have things that you're thinking about. You know you have ones that you think belong. We're gonna give you ours. You're gonna give you yours. I've got some controversial picks at both decades. I'm just gonna tell
Hmm.
you that right now. So
I've been
yes.
I pretty much have my 1980s. I pretty much have that locked in. I think I going back and forth between two for my 1980s. I haven't really given the 1970s as much thought, but the 1980s, I have that pretty solid on that. But I
Well,
think there will be lots of controversy.
I think it'll be interesting because, Jim and Tammy are just slightly older than you and I. And
Hmm.
so that couple of years though, I think makes a difference when it comes to your 70s versus 80s. Because the
Hmm.
80s was our time when it came to really getting into TV, and you really started to see this kind of evolution of sitcoms, where the 70s was a little bit, I would call 70s sitcoms to be a little bit grittier, a little more you could just do more in the 70s than you could in the 80s. Does that make sense? So in
Well,
terms
I
of
mean,
what you could get away with.
the 70s was a much more liberal time than the 80s. I mean, the 70s was like, the
Totally.
60s was over, all, women's libs, sex, there was a lot with disco. There was a lot more going on. And then the 80s, we had Reagan and it just kind of clamped down. It was the 80s was quite a conservative time. So that does not surprise me
Everybody's
at all. The
sphincter just
70s,
went, yeah,
everybody tightened
start
up,
clutching their pearls and
Exactly. Nancy
yeah,
Reagan telling us no,
agreed.
say no to drugs. So in the 70s, it was like, I mean, when I talked to some of my older cousins in the 70s, it seemed as though they didn't do anything without being on Quaaludes. And by the 80s, there were no Quaaludes left.
Yeah, because they used them all up in the 70s. Fuck.
Exactly. All of a sudden they stopped making them because
Uh,
we weren't supposed to have fun. So there you go.
correct. Correct.
Mhm.
Well, all right. So that's next week. Again, join us on that'll be July 14th. So in the meantime, I am Janice Brothers, and with me is my sister.
And brothers.
That's right. And we want you to get out there and do something smart, do something dumb, do something fun. Wait, I have to turn on the music.
Exactly.
There it is.
Don't forget our thanks, Max Caselli, for our music.
No. Yes, Max Caselli. Ups. There we go. All right, you get something smart, do
All right,
something
everybody.
dumb.
Do something fun, and we are out of here. Bye.